Single dad stands up for paralyzed poor boy. Accused of shoplifting, unaware his dad is a millionaire biker. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Today's story will remind you that kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They wear tired eyes, rough hands, and hearts that refuse to stay silent. Hey, I saw that. The shout cracked through the small-town grocery like a whip. A trembling teenage boy in a wheelchair froze by the medicine aisle, a tiny box of insulin trembling in his hands. Ryan Cole, single father and mechanic, looked up from the cereal shelf. His 9-year-old daughter Emma stood beside him, eyes wide. The store manager, red-faced and sweating, stormed toward the boy. "You think that chair makes you untouchable, kid? You stole that medicine." The boy's voice was barely audible. "Please, it's for my mom. She can't afford it." Ryan's chest tightened. He'd heard that kind of plea before, the kind that comes from pure desperation. The manager yanked the box away. "Save it. You people always have an excuse." Something in Ryan snapped. He stepped forward, voice low but steady. "Hey, that's enough." The store went silent. "Sir, this doesn't concern you," the manager sneered. Ryan's jaw tightened. "It does now." Emma's small hand wrapped around his like she already knew her dad couldn't walk away from this one. Ryan positioned himself between the manager and the boy. His posture wasn't threatening, just firm, protective. Years of holding a wobbly world together had made him steady under pressure. The boy's eyes darted up. He looked no older than 16. His wheelchair was scratched, one armrest taped. His hoodie had the name Ethan stitched on the sleeve, probably by someone who loved him once. "I said he didn't take anything," Ryan said calmly. "You can check his bag, check your cameras." "There's no need," the manager snapped. "He's already guilty." "Look at him." Ryan's hands clenched. "You're judging a kid by how he looks?" Emma tugged his sleeve. "Dad, he's scared." Ryan's voice softened. "I know, baby." He turned to the manager again. "If you want to press charges, fine. But you're doing it in front of everyone here, Mag, and that camera." A few customers had stopped to watch now. One woman whispered, "He didn't even hide anything." The manager faltered. For a second, his authority cracked. Ryan looked at Ethan. "You okay, kid?" Ethan nodded weakly. "Yeah." "Thank you, sir." Ryan didn't realize yet. He'd just stepped into a story that would change all their lives. Outside the store, the winter wind stung like tiny needles. Ryan pushed open the door, holding it as Ethan rolled himself out. "Thanks," Ethan murmured, voice raw from holding back tears. "No thanks needed," Ryan said. "You did nothing wrong." Emma handed Ethan a candy bar from her pocket. "It's not medicine, but it helps," she said with a shy grin. That tiny kindness broke the tension. Ethan smiled, the first real smile Ryan had seen all day. Ryan knelt beside him. "That medicine you picked up, it was for your mom?" Ethan nodded. "She's diabetic. We ran out 2 days ago. I tried asking for help, but..." He swallowed hard. "They said we didn't qualify for aid. I thought maybe if I just..." Ryan put a hand on his shoulder. "You don't need to explain." "I get it," Ethan frowned. "You don't even know me." Ryan's gaze softened. "I don't have to. I know what it's like to need help and have nobody listen." Behind them, the neon store sign flickered. Ryan didn't know it yet, but someone was watching from across the street. A man on a black Harley, silent under his helmet. The Harley's engine growled once before dying into silence. From beneath his leather jacket, the biker's tattooed hands tightened on the handlebar. He'd seen the whole thing. His son being humiliated again, Ethan's father. Jack Monroe was the kind of man people crossed the street to avoid. He owned 5 repair shops, rode with a biker club, and had more money than he knew what to do with. But none of it mattered when he saw Ethan, the boy he'd lost to a custody battle years ago, sitting there in a wheelchair, trembling, Jack hadn't been there when the accident happened. Hadn't been there through the hospital stays. And now, standing across from that store, watching another man defend his son, something twisted inside him. Ryan helped Ethan adjust his jacket. "You got a ride home?" Ethan hesitated. "Kind of. It's not far. I'll drive you," Ryan offered. From across the street, Jack's fists unclenched. Maybe the stranger was the kind of man he'd always hoped his boy would meet instead of him. For the first time in years, Jack didn't start his bike. He just watched. Ethan's house sat at the end of a narrow dirt road, the kind of place where everything looked like it had once been loved but forgotten. Ryan helped carry the groceries to the porch. Emma followed, hugging her stuffed rabbit like she always did when she sensed sadness. Inside, the lights flickered. The smell of disinfectant mixed with cold air. Ethan's mother, pale and frail, struggled to stand. "Ethan, where were you?" Her voice cracked. Ryan stepped forward gently. "Ma'am, I'm Ryan. I was at the store. There was a misunderstanding, but everything's fine now." Tears filled her eyes. "You helped my boy?" Ryan nodded. Anyone would have. But they both knew not everyone would have. As Ryan turned to leave, Emma tugged his sleeve again. "Dad, can we bring them food tomorrow?" Ryan hesitated. He could barely keep his own bills paid him. But looking at Ethan's mother's trembling hands, he knew the answer. "Yeah," he said quietly. "We can." Outside, he didn't notice the Harley parked in the shadows. Jack Monroe sat inside the helmet, eyes wet, whispering to no one, "That's my boy. That's my boy." The next morning, Ryan showed up again, arms full of groceries. Emma carried a bag of soup cans almost too heavy for her. Ethan's mother tried to protest. "You've already done enough." Ryan smiled softly. "I know what empty cupboards feel like. Let me help." Ethan's mother studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you." Ryan and Ethan spent the morning fixing a loose cabinet hinge, talking about school and wheelchairs and favorite bands. Emma sat nearby, drawing a picture of all of them together. It felt normal, peaceful. Something Ryan hadn't felt since his wife passed 2 years ago. When he left, he found a note tucked under his windshield. "You don't know me, but I saw what you did. Most men walk away. You didn't. Keep doing what you do." J.M. Ryan looked around, but the street was empty, just faint tire marks and the echo of a motorcycle somewhere in the hills. A week later, Ryan's auto shop closed early. The rent had doubled and he was behind. He sat at the counter staring at unpaid bills when the bell above the door chimed. A man walked in. Leather jacket, gray beard, sunglasses despite the dim light. "You Ryan Cole?" Ryan nodded slowly. "Depends who's asking. Name's Jack Monroe. I heard you helped my son." Ryan froze. "Ethan's your boy?" Jack nodded. "Yeah, we're not close. My fault." He looked around the dusty shop. "You do honest work," Ryan shrugged. "I try." Jack slid an envelope across the counter. "Consider this an investment. I need someone who knows engines and has a heart." Ryan frowned. "I don't take charity." Jack smiled faintly. "It's not charity. It's a job. You'll be managing a new garage I'm opening, under your name." Ryan stared at him, confused. "Why me?" Jack's eyes softened. "Because you stood up for a kid when no one else would. You did what a real man's supposed to do. Protect even when it's not your fight." Ryan accepted, reluctantly. But something in Jack's tone felt unfinished. A week into the new job, Ethan rolled into the garage, eyes bright. "Dad said you're helping him now." Ryan froze mid-turn. "Wait, Dad?" Jack appeared behind him, wiping grease off his hands. "Guess the secret's out." Ethan smiled nervously. "I didn't know you two knew each other." Ryan looked between them, realization dawning. The man who'd quietly watched from the shadows, who'd given him a lifeline, was the same man who'd once abandoned this boy. Jack cleared his throat. "Yeah, about that. I'm trying to make things right." Ryan studied him, the tattoos, the roughness, but also the humility in his eyes. Then start with him, he said softly. Ethan looked down at his lap, voice trembling. You don't have to, Dad. Jack's reply broke the silence. I do, son. I've missed too many chances already. Ryan turned away, hiding his smile. Sometimes redemption doesn't roar, it whispers. The roar of engines filled the morning air as Ryan stepped outside the new garage. A line of black Harley bikes gleamed under the sun. Jack's club brothers, a rough but loyal bunch. Ethan sat at the edge of the sidewalk, eyes wide. Are those yours, Dad? Jack nodded. Used to be my family. Thought I'd lost it all. Turns out I was just lost. He knelt by Ethan's wheelchair. You ever been on one? Ethan laughed softly. Kind of hard without legs, isn't it? Jack smirked. We'll see about that. By noon, Ryan had helped modify a sidecar with extra harnesses. When Ethan climbed in, something miraculous happened. For the first time since the accident, his laughter echoed without fear. The group rode slowly down the highway, Ethan's hair whipping in the wind. Ryan followed in his pickup, Emma cheering from the window. At a stoplight, Jack glanced back and saw his son's joy, saw Ryan smiling and nodding for a split second. The world was right again, he whispered under his breath. Thank you, stranger, for giving me back my boy. But life has a cruel way of testing redemption. A week later, Ryan found Jack sitting outside the shop, helmet in hand, expression heavy. What's wrong? Jack looked up. Doctors say Ethan's spinal infection's getting worse. They need another surgery, expensive, dangerous. Ryan felt his gut tighten. Can't your money cover it? Jack shook his head. It's not about money. It's about risk. He might not make it through this one. Silence hung thick. Ryan thought of Emma, how fragile life had felt since her mom's passing. Ethan rolled in moments later, cheerful as ever. Dad, can we go for a ride today? Jack forced a smile. Sure, kid, but Ryan could see the fear hiding behind those eyes. That night, rain pounded the roof of Ryan's trailer. He couldn't sleep. He saw Ethan's face, Jack's trembling hands, and a memory of the hospital room where he'd lost his wife came flooding back. He whispered to himself, not again, not another good soul lost. The next morning, he made a decision. Ryan walked into the hospital and found Jack pacing outside the ICU. I spoke with the surgeon, Ryan said quietly. He says they need blood donors for the operation. Jack blinked. They do? Ryan nodded. And I'm a match, Jack stared. Why would you? Ryan interrupted. Because I couldn't save my wife. Maybe this time I can save someone else's family. Jack's eyes welled up. For the first time, the tough biker broke. He gripped Ryan's shoulders. You're a better man than I ever was. Ryan shook his head. No, just a man who's tired of watching good people suffer. Hours later, the surgery began. Jack waited by the window, helmet in his lap, whispering prayers he didn't know he remembered. When the doctor finally came out, his voice was calm. The surgery went well. Your son's going to be okay. Jack exhaled, collapsing into the chair. Ryan, pale but smiling, stepped out from the donor room. Told you he'd make it. Jack couldn't find words, so he just hugged him. Two fathers, both broken, both redeemed. Weeks passed. Ethan healed faster than anyone expected. Jack sold one of his Harleys and used the money to buy Ethan a new wheelchair. Lightweight, electric, sleek. When he rolled into the shop for the first time, his grin said everything. Dad, look at this thing. He beamed. Ryan was tuning an engine nearby. That's a sweet ride, kid. Emma giggled. Now you're faster than all of us. Ethan turned to Ryan. Hey, Mr. Cole, you think maybe I could work here after school? Help out? Ryan looked at Jack, then back at Ethan. We'd be lucky to have you. Jack's voice caught. You mean it? Ryan smiled. Kid's got more fight than half my crew combined. As they laughed, sunlight poured through the garage windows. Warm, forgiving, full of promise. For the first time in years, everyone in that room felt like they belonged. One evening after closing up, Jack pulled out an envelope and placed it on Ryan's desk. "What's this?" Ryan asked. "Something I should have done long ago," Jack said. "You helped me fix my family. Now let me help you fix yours." Inside was a deed, the garage ownership papers signed over to Ryan Cole. Ryan stared, stunned. "Jack, I can't take this." Jack smiled faintly. "You already earned it. You stood up when others looked away. You became the man I wish I'd been." Ryan swallowed hard. "You're giving away a fortune." Jack shook his head. "No, I'm giving away a burden. And getting peace back." They stood there in silence, two men from different worlds, united by one simple truth. Kindness echoes longer than pain. That weekend, they all gathered for one more ride. Jack, Ethan in his new sidecar, Ryan and Emma. The wind roared around them. But inside the noise was something sacred. Laughter. Life's second chances. At a red light, Ethan turned to Ryan. "You know, I thought the world was just pain and pity." Ryan smiled. "It's not. Sometimes it's just waiting for someone to prove it wrong." Ethan nodded. "You did." Jack glanced at Ryan through his mirror. Their eyes meeting. An unspoken brotherhood formed in hardship, sealed by gratitude. As the sun dipped low behind the hills, Ryan whispered to himself, "Maybe angels ride motorcycles after all." Months later, the shop thrived. Emma helped paint a sign above the entrance. Cole and Monroe Garage, built on heart. Ethan worked part-time, stronger than ever. Jack rode less but smiled more. One quiet evening, Ryan locked up looking at the sign. He thought of his wife, of nights spent alone, of the kindness that had found him when he wasn't looking. Sometimes, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need. He looked at Ethan and Jack laughing near the bikes and whispered, "Guess we all needed each other." And for the first time since the world had broken him, Ryan Cole felt whole again. If this story touched your heart, hit subscribe, like, and ring the bell, so you never miss stories that remind us what it means to be human. And tell us in the comments, have you ever met a stranger who changed your life forever? Because sometimes, one act of kindness rewrites everything.